two fairly brief matters, but important matters to attend to. I'll call the meeting of the EDC to order. Is there any declaration of a pecuniary interest on matters that we will be dealing with today involving the Soo Greyhounds and the extension of the agreement between us and the city management agreement? I'm not aware of any.
No.
May I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
I'll make the motion, Joe.
Bill and Sam, all in favor? Approved?
Yep.
I have a mover and a seconder that the agenda, I'm sorry, can I have any motions to add anything further to the agenda by any members of the board? I'd like to put on the agenda a matter that would permit us to extend the current management agreement between the EDC and the city for a further period of 3 years, subject to the terms of the old agreement that either party can terminate on 90 days notice. The only change in the agreement is the Schedule A that was attached to the original. Most of the things that were on the Schedule A have been dealt with the exception of two, and I'll address that when we come to it. May I have a mover and a seconder to permit me to put that on the agenda, please? Bill moves a seconder. Sheila, thank you. All in favor? Approved. Okay, the first item then is the request by Tim Lukenda for assistance involving the Memorial Cup. You received Tom's report to Council of 2020 with your material. I have some direct knowledge of that application because we had a long and difficult meeting trying to understand all the ins and outs of making these applications by any particular team. And Tom, maybe you can fill us in a little bit as to the cost to the Greyhounds to bring this thing to Sault Ste. Marie, to bring this event to Sault Ste. Marie. Prior to COVID-19, I thought that the chances of Sault Ste. Marie getting this Memorial Cup for our city was excellent, but unfortunately with the COVID, it didn't go anywhere. So I still think we've got a good shot at getting this event here. Tom, you want to give us some information as to the cost?
Sure, thanks, Joe. Yeah, the hosting fee is approximately $1.4 million for the event, and then on top of that, of course, will be all the different costs of organizing the event, the marketing, the operational ceremonies, all the different opening celebrations. So it's quite a significant undertaking for the Greyhounds. As Tim has indicated before, they aren't looking to make money on this event. It's really, the prestige of hosting the event. And obviously there's a lot of follow-on economic benefits, which have been outlined in the previous studies that were done in Halifax and other communities.
Just adding to that, there's no direct funding by the EDC of any of our money for it. It's our support for this event that Tom wants to bring before City Council and also for the community to be aware of. Is there any questions on that matter? May I have a mover then and a seconder that resolved that the EDC endorses Tim Lukenda's request to the city to utilize $300,000 from the Community Development Fund to support the application to host the Memorial Cup in 2024. May I have a mover for that? Chris, seconder, Sheila? All in favor?
Yep.
It's approved. The other matter that we've added to the agenda was to continue, in essence, the current agreement that we have between us and the city of Sault Ste. Marie, managing the business and affairs of the EDC to the extent and as outlined in the agreement. We had some brief conversation about this before today. the reality is that the agreement runs out at the end of December, and there's ongoing matters that we have to attend to. The first thing that we need to deal with is the Rural Northern Immigration Pilot Program. This is an undertaking that Tom has been involved in extensively, as I understand it and appreciate, to bring immigrants and refugees to the city that have special training in various fields. And it's something that I strongly support. Our hotel has had over the last 4 years or so, 2 to 3 refugee families, and we even have a couple that have stayed on and worked for us. And I think it's something that's needs to be supported. The current agreement expires at the end of the year. And the new agreement is exactly the same as a former pilot project. So for us to do that, I have to have authority to sign that agreement with the federal government. And then we assign that to the city of Sault Ste. Marie to manage, which is what we do under the current agreement as well. So those two things have to occur at the same time. Anything you want to add to that, Tom?
No, I think you did a good job summarizing that, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you. And then the other thing that we need to do is we have the trail project with FedNor. This was the mountain biking trails that we built about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. We started that project. FedNor, Tourism Sault Ste. Marie, with the MAT funds, is involved in that. And that's a continuing event because we keep getting additional funding by FedNor in order to expand it at various times. Those are the two programs that are continuing under the current management agreement as renewed. So it seems to me that we can perhaps have some discussions in a couple of other areas during the course of this agreement, both on behalf of the city and the EDC. But for the time being, to continue the business of both the city and the EDC, I'd like a mover and a seconder authorizing the continuing of the management agreement as amended in terms of Schedule A. And secondly, that I be permitted to sign the agreement for the Rural Northern Immigration Pilot Program when that is available for me to sign, and then assign that to the city of Sault Ste. Marie under the management agreement. So I'd like a mover and a seconder resolved that the chair, myself, be authorized to sign the amending agreement continuing the current management agreement between the city and the EDC for a further period of 3 years, subject to the amendments to Schedule A thereto as set out in the amending agreement. May I have a mover and a seconder in that respect? Bill is a mover, seconder.
I'll second it, Joe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All in favor? Thank you. That's the end of the business for today. Is there anything else that we'd like to deal with before we break for Christmas and New Year's? Thank you very much. Everybody have a good holiday season, and we will see each other at the meeting in January. I'll be back in Sault Ste. Marie.
Thanks.
We'll do that in
Thank you. Have a good
Happy
Christmas.
holidays.